Welcome to the Author Your Life podcast, where you can write a new script for your life and become the hero of your story. I'm your host, David McRae. You are the author of your life. Let's get started.
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
Before we launch into the podcast, I'd like to tell you about my book, Author Your Life, Become the Hero of Your Story. This is a book for people who are at a crossroads in life and want to make a fresh start. Judging by the fact that you're listening to this podcast, I suspect that you may well be one of those people. This book is going to help you to change your narrative and rewrite the scripts in life that are holding you back. This book covers the latest science and research showing you how to become the person you want to be and live the life that you want to live. I'd like to invite you to get this book not only because I feel it's a great book that's going to help you, but also it's going to support the podcast as well. I love podcasts, but sometimes all of those ads that you get can be really irrelevant and annoying when you just want to listen to a good piece of training or a good interview. So I therefore made the decision with my podcasts that number one, I wanted my podcast to be free so that everyone could listen to it. And number two, that I wasn't going to fund it through all these annoying and irrelevant adverts and commercials. Therefore, if you want to support the podcast and support all the things that I put out there for free, whether it be here on the podcast, my YouTube channel, other areas on social media, then buying a book is going to enable and help that process. So this is what we call a win-win scenario. By buying the book, you help to support my work and all the free stuff that I put out there, and you also get a really transformational book that's going to help you make those changes that you really want in your life. So if you feel you're someone who's at that crossroads in life, you're looking for a new direction, you're looking for a fresh start, then make sure you get this book. Author Your Life, Become the Hero of Your Story is available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and audiobook. Whatever your preferred medium, it's there for you to go get right now. You are not the result of big occasional actions that you take in your life. You are the result of your small, consistent actions that you perform every single day. These, of course, are your habits. Your habits determine who you are and what your life looks like. And so many people want to build good habits in their life and equally to eliminate some of the bad habits that they have as well. I've got a few suggestions for you today that I think you'll find really useful and really easy to implement. And these come from this awesome book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. This was one of the best-selling non-fiction books of the year in 2019 and very deservedly so. Lots of really applicable, easy to implement stuff in this book. And I'm going to share his 4 key principles with you today, and I'm going to give you a little bit of my own take on these principles. So what I've taken from the book and how I've kind of used this and implemented this for various habits I have in my life. So let's kick off. James says that there are 4 principles of building a habit. And the first of these principles is make it obvious. Make it obvious what you want to do. What is the action you want to take? What is the habit that you want to build? So for example, right here, I have got my headphones. Now, every single evening, I leave these headphones on this little coffee table that is underneath the camera just now. And that's because every morning when I wake up, the first thing that I do is meditate. And in fact, this is actually where I meditate, where you can see right here on this sofa. And so I put these headphones in plain sight, right in front of the sofa. So it's really obvious. As soon as I walk through the living room door, I see the headphones, I pick them up, I put them in, and I start meditating. I've made that habit really obvious for myself. So that's principle 1. Principle 2, make it attractive. So make it something that you actually want to do, that excites you, that gives you pleasure in life. So one of my weird household chores that I love doing, and people find it's weird that I love doing it, is the ironing. I love doing the ironing, and the reason for this is for years now, when I do the ironing, I watch a television show or a film at the same time. And actually sometimes, because I hardly ever watch TV, that's the only time during the week that I'll be watching TV, that I'll just say, look, I can just watch some rubbish on Netflix, or I can watch a really cheesy film, I don't care. Because whilst I'm doing that, I'm getting the ironing done. And as a result, I've now come to associate ironing, for many people ironing is a chore, I associate ironing with something I look forward to. It's something that I do usually on a Friday night, it's the end of the week, I just sit there, chill, get all the clothes done, watch a nice TV show or film. I've made that habit attractive for myself. And I've combined something that I need to do with something that I want to do. So that's a really key part of principle number 2. Principle number 3, make it easy. Make it easy. If it's easy to do, no brainer, you're more likely to do it. And quite an effective way to make stuff easy is to automate it so that it already happens, so it doesn't need your decision making or your touch point in order for that to occur. So one of the sources of automation that I used is for my podcast episodes and for my YouTube videos. So right now you're either watching this video on YouTube or you're listening to this on the Orthio Life podcast. Now, do you think that I've just recorded this and then I've uploaded it onto my computer and then I've put that onto the podcast or onto the YouTube a couple of hours after I record it? No, of course not. You might be watching this now, but even if you've watched it as soon as this episode has been released, I recorded this weeks in advance. I'm recording this, I think, about 4 weeks before this actually comes out. And this is what I do every month with my podcast interviews and with these smaller training sessions that I do with you just now, is that I schedule out for the entire month. I get everything uploaded. I organize all of the emails and the social media notifications, and then I have them scheduled out for the entire month. I usually try to do that right at the beginning of the month. It doesn't always work out 100% because sometimes you're waiting on an interview or you're waiting on something else that needs to be done. But generally speaking, at the start of the month, I know that the entire month's worth of content that I release is sitting there waiting to happen. That's making it easy. That's automating things. How can you do that with habits that you need to put in place as well? The 4th and final principle is make it satisfying. Make it feel good when you have completed that habit. And a great way to do this is to track your progress, is to track the actions that you're taking and have some kind of objective, quantifiable metric that you can use. And as a result, you can build through these actions, that you can build through this habit. So one of the things that I'm doing this year is that I'm wanting to do a lot more hiking. I started to do a lot more hiking last year. I was really getting into it. I've really discovered a new passion and a new hobby there. And I want to take that on into this year as well. So I've set myself a meters target of how many meters that I want to climb throughout this entire year. And I've got a chart on my wall in my office. And every time that I climb a hill this year, I'm going to write down various descriptions about the hill, but one of the key metrics will be how high it was, how many meters, how many feet was that hill or was that mountain. And so I'm going to be adding up my meters and feet as I go throughout the year. I'll see that number ticking up and ticking up and ticking up. And because there's some quite high mountains in Scotland, there are going to be some nice big numbers. I'm going to be in the thousands, and eventually what I'm aiming for is the tens of thousands. So you get to see that number creeping up. It's this really deep sense of satisfaction that, yeah, I climbed that high. Yeah, I got up that mountain. It's good. It's satisfying. And this is a way that you can get satisfaction in your habits as well, is track your progress, is see those numbers ticking up in whatever domain that might be. So folks, that's a quick fire round of 4 simple but great principles that you can use to build up your healthy habits this year, because ultimately your progress and your growth isn't going to be decided by big one-off actions or big one-off events. Yes, they have a part to play, but the real crux of it is these small actions that you build up, these habits that you ingrain for yourself and perform again and again and again and again. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I look forward to sharing more with you next time. Until then, remember that every single day you have the opportunity to start a new chapter of your life. So why not make that day today?
If you've enjoyed today's episode and you'd like to take your education with Author Your Life a little bit further, then I'd love for you to join us in the brand new Author Your Life Academy. The Author Your Life Academy is an online educational community where you can start a new and exciting chapter of your life. In the Academy, there is ongoing, extended, exclusive training to help you build the skills that you need to grow and develop in your life. You get to join a community of aspirational story changers who are supporting you, encouraging you, and celebrating with you along your journey. I'm also in there as well, providing tailored specific mentorship through live question and answer sessions and priority access through messaging and emails. If you'd like to enroll in the Academy, you can do so for just $27 a month. That's £20 for those of you in the UK. When you join, you get 3 awesome bonuses. You get an audiobook, you get an online course, and you get a ticket to one of my live events. So if you're ready to start something new and exciting in your life, come join us in the Author Your Life Academy. You can find out more about how you enroll by going to www.authoryourlife.org/academy. I'd love to see you in there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate it hugely if you could head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review for the podcast. With your review, please be as honest and detailed as you can be. Because with honest and detailed feedback, that helps me to adapt and grow this podcast to most serve you, the listener. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, then make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way you aren't going to miss any of the future episodes that we've got lined up for you. Until next time, remember that you are the author of your life. You hold the pen, and you can write whatever script you want for yourself. So go out today and write yourself a beautiful story.